I know there are 1,001 things we want our children to do. Don't bring everything into them once. I want to bring your attention to something that has been happening year after year, and this year this person is a victim, next year another person is a victim. What is that? The rate at which children are abused during their time of holidays, during the time when they stay home and others go to school. Yes, it's actually possible that in a family some person stay home and others go to school. That's because of their class differences. Those who are in JS3, I'm talking about those in Nigeria who must have finished their junior WAEC. At this moment, most schools, in fact all schools, just finished their junior WAEC, and so those JS3 students stay back at home while the older or younger sibling go to school, because it's not yet the general holidays. These children are likely going to stay at home for 1 full month before others join them. But what we do with them in this 1 month or a little less could make or mar them completely. I've heard stories, not that I was told, I have seen victims who were, abused within this short period. Well, it's no longer news that both parents go to work these days, the father, the mother, and even the older siblings, leaving these younger ones at the mercy of either those at home or even those they engage them with. I mean, those you send them to. Yes, most of the persons who abuse these children are actually people who are close by. Now, what do we do? How do we know them? How do we even avert this harm from happening to them? First off, let me start with things we could engage these children with. There are lots of things we could do other than just leave them at home, warm the food when the younger ones come back so they'll have what to eat, or parboil beans, parboil this. When I come back, I'll continue cooking the food and all. There is more we could get these children doing, male, female alike. First, actually enroll these children, our children, or even the ones staying with you, in different crafts. The crafts could be hair making, the crafts could be mechanic, the crafts could be how to barb hair for the boys, even girls. The crafts could be anything, bead making, anything that you know could help that child, that could be monetized as they grow older. You can enroll them at that JS3. You get? Because of the nature of our routine in Nigeria, or generally in Africa, you wake up early, you try to finish up so you go to school early and the rest of it. Some of these children don't even know how to do certain things, or rather they don't have the opportunity to practice some of the things they've been taught. For instance, they just sweep where you see, they don't sweep under the chair, they rarely clean the way they should. So this is a period where you teach them to be more industrious, to be more homely, to do more of house chores. You wash the plates, teach them how to cook, give them time to cook, give them time to bake, give them time to clean up the house, make their beds. Let it be a routine. It's enough time to make them build habits. It's enough time, you have enough time to inculcate certain habits in them. So you've started this, your morning routine changes. You wake up, ensure you sweep, ensure you do this, ensure you lay the bed, ensure you pray. It is enough time to inculcate certain habits in them. And of course, when you give them this and you try to set goals for them, make realistic goals. Goals they can actually see, embrace, and can practice at the tail end. And not just do it the first, second day. Something they can start, maintain, sustain, consistently continue. Becomes part of them. Realistic goals. I'm assuming they already know how to operate the computer, or let's say they know the basis of computer, but let's say they've not. This is the second best time to teach them or expose them to computer studies. They learn the basis, or maybe specialize in a particular area because of the short duration. Again, it's also a good time to introduce them to the trends, what is in vogue, the AI studies, and what have you. Everything that is trending educationally, that should make them better persons, that should make them a step ahead of others. that should make them better version of themselves, because they are not actually competing with anybody aside themselves. So anything that should make them better versions of themselves or help them, draw them closer to where they are going. It could be AI, it could be coding and robotics, it could be anything as regarding technology. You expose them to it. It's not a problem if you don't know it. Just engage them, link them up, enroll them in the hands of professionals who know it. And then you don't just enroll these children, be it you're exposing them to tech, you're exposing them to hair making, you're exposing them to barbing, you're exposing them to anything. Don't just throw them at the mercy of these persons. Some of them are abusers, some of them are molesters, and you cannot help but mingle with them, interact with them, surface with them. This is still a place where you bring back your child in, you speak to him or her and tell him. In fact, I'm assuming that by now he or she should already have known what shouldn't happen, what should be and what shouldn't be, what is normal and what shouldn't be normal. And that also means that when you go on your own daily activities and come back, you should at least give 5 minutes to listen to what he or she passed through in the day. How did it go? What happened? Just give that listening ear, because from listening you will get to understand things that happen around them. And please, when listening, try not to interrupt the conversation. Try not to break in between what he or she is saying. Allow them to finish talking. Even if there's something you feel, no, I need to address this now, allow them to finish talking. Note it down and still listen actively to what he or she is saying. The goal is let this child become better. The goal is he or she enters the higher secondary session and is not just a complete novice. It's not just they're roaming around. Expose them to street sense. When I say street sense, some persons from their nursery session to secondary session are taken to school and brought back from school, taken to church and brought back to church. Some of them cannot even on their own go to their school with public transport. They know the route, they know the road, but they can't because they don't even know where to enter the vehicle, they don't know where to stop, and the rest of it. This is a time at JS3 is enough time you could start exposing them to short distance. Okay, go to the streets there, go to the nearest supermarket, all this kind of thing. Go get this. Go let him or her be exposed to certain lifestyles. Why? Because when they go into secondary school, a lot happen. And when I mean secondary school, I mean the senior secondary. To think that some of us are even thinking of when they get to secondary school, senior secondary, they become boarders. Your hand is completely off that child if you are not careful. And so it's also another time to bond with your child. It's a time to interact deeply. It's a time to be with them in kitchen, cook with them. In fact, allow them do the cooking while you supervise. It's the best time to do that. They are older, they are more intelligent, they are more careful, they know, they can tell what is happening with them and around them. They know themselves better than when they were in secondary or rather in primary. So this is that penultimate time when you could get to allow the child exhibit all you've been teaching from the nursery to the primary to the junior secondary. It's more like a practical time. So let them do certain things themselves, not just those baby things, but the, in quotes, adult or say teenage thing. And when I mean teenage thing, teenage kind of duties. It's also time you try to, to sum it up, make them become, they are already stepped into adulthood or almost into adulthood. Allow them experience certain things. The reason is most times if they continue without that bond and close practical relationship, once they finish secondary school, you and I know that most of them at SS3, they write JAM, they write everything that will take them to university. And sometimes, most times, they make it and they leave. So JS3 holidays, most times, is always the longest holidays you have to stay with your child. make good use of it. Engage them the right way. You can also expose them to working environments. Expose them to work environments. It must not necessarily be that they are paid. Because of how bad and how hard the community or the country is, people can barely do things for free. But yes, being that they are in JS3 and you want them to have an idea of what working is. Maybe they want to be a doctor, they want to be a broadcast journalist, or whatever. Expose them to them. Let them freelance. Even if they get there and don't do anything, let them go there and see how people are cultured and see what people do and what people don't do. It has ways of molding them. Do I really want to do this? Or no, I want to do this or that one. Oh, I don't, this is not what I want. That kind of a thing. It gives them this level of composure, this level of coordination. So let them freelance in companies. And then if you're a business person who either run business in the market or in your a company, you could also give them days they come to work, 2-3 times a week, or even once. They come corporately dressed as if they are coming to work. You come early, you follow the rules of the company. Even if you, the parents, is the owner of the company, you make them follow the rules that every other staff follow. This has ways of making them, get to know what is going on, what the corporate world should look like or is like. On the other hand, if you're someone who is into business, let's say you're into upholstery making, you're into coupling of computer, laptop, phones, and the rest of them, you could still bring him or her to come learn, to come understudy, to come really have an idea of what these things are. It could also change the person's mindset. The point is, let him or her freelance in a corporate world, learn and unlearn, and actually see things differently. You can also expose them to different crafts and activities like learning new language, learning new culture. Yes, they are in Nigeria, but they could decide to learn French, like specialize in learning French. They can learn any language, Chinese language, anything. They can also go into crafts like painting, drawing, sculpture, like something different from what you have in the classroom. They can also learn music. I, for one, I have a child who I know has this very strong thing with music. Go to the keyboard, he's there, go to the drum, he's there, and all. So if I'm opportune to raise him to JS3 class where he has a longer holiday, one of the best things I would do is, if I've not done it at that age, is to expose him further to it. So look out for their talents, look out for the things they have flair for, look out for the things they like doing, they love doing, they want to be associated with, provided it's something that will help them get better, provided it's something that will help them grow and glow, and encourage it, inculcate it into them, help them build it, help them develop it, and you will appreciate it. In it all, you need to be more realistic with what you give them. I know there are 1,001 things we want our children to do. Don't bring everything into them once. One step at a time. It's better you bring up one and you have them specialize in it, learn it, and even if you just tap them from their sleep and say, do this, they can do it and deliver 100%. It's better you give them one and you're sure the one is one, and you give them everything that is unrealistic, and at the end of the day, they are master of none. However, while being realistic, make out time to be involved. It is a time to practically watch them do all you've been teaching. It is more of an action time. Don't be too busy, and don't let them waste at this point of their life. It doesn't matter where you send them to. It must not be to the high and mighty. My point is, wherever you take them to, please be sure, be certain, you know what is going on. I saw on the news the other day a boy of 13 who was molested by the person the father paid to teach him how to how to barb. I think it was barbing. I'm not very sure the skill, but it was someone the father paid teach my son how to do certain things, and it was a guy, and this guy ended up molesting this child. Please, as much as we want to expose our child and children to certain skills, please let your eyes be down, look well, observe what is going on, be involved in what they do, invade into their privacy. As far as I'm concerned, at that age there's nothing like privacy when it comes to knowing what is happening around them. They have their privacy, quite all right. I withdraw that they are things like privacy, they have their privacy, but as their parents, be involved in everything they do, be on the know, so that something bad does not happen right under your roof. Thank you so much for your time. If you listen to this point, please like, subscribe, and follow for more. Thank you.